spent the past few weeks trying to figure out what I was going to wear tonight. I've always put a lot of time into my outfits, whether it's getting ready for date night with Jordan or back to middle school picture days. I've always put a lot of pressure on my appearance. I spent too much time in front of the mirror, checking out my clothes, changing my outfits, and then throwing clothes on the floor. I will pick them up later. I can remember when I was 17 and I had the best pair of jeans. Maybe some of you can relate. You have or have had this great pair of jeans. They're your go-to, and they make your butt look incredible. And if you're like me, you owned them in 3 colors. Mine had one size on the tag, but a zip tie strung through the belt loops to help them stay on my body. At this point, I was 8 years into my eating disorder. Now, these particular jeans made me feel so good because I would use them as a way to show others how small my body was. I would walk around and show off my DIY alteration and hope that they would say exactly what I wanted to hear or what my eating disorder wanted to hear. How do you stay so thin? You need to eat more. 2 things you definitely don't say to somebody with an eating disorder. Multiple times during my late teens and early 20s, I had to uproot my life and spend months away from my friends, my family, school, work, everything, and spend months in residential and inpatient treatment facilities. Each time I went through treatment, I left with a feeling of confidence, knowing that I had worked really hard to make important changes in my lifestyle and that this is going to be the time that I can recover. And yet, I would find myself in the same place, back at home, day 1 of no longer having the security of a treatment team, alone in my room. I was alone staring at a closet full of clothes that no longer fit my body or my recovered lifestyle. A few years into this cycle of treatment, feeling confident, slip, spiral, and then treatment again, I had been convinced to throw away my scale. My therapist knew that it was dangerous for me to have one at home, but I had held on to a dress that would reveal my current weight. I'm speaking with you now, a few years into my recovery, and I still have this dress. That just goes to show you how much power a piece of material can hold over somebody while they're struggling with an eating disorder. I have no desire to fit into this dress, but I could also never donate it. I never want to put someone through the same pressure that I felt to buy it and manipulate her body to fit into it the way that I did. Each time I left treatment, part of me knew that I should just box everything up and start my wardrobe over. But I couldn't afford to buy new clothes to replace the ones that were too small, too big, or had these negative associations attached to them. I kept and used old clothes as a means of body checking or measuring if weight had been gained or not. It's not uncommon for clothes to be used in a way that fuels the eating disorder, especially if a person gauges their success by what size or clothes they may be able to fit into. These sick clothes had a huge control over my ability to wake up and start my day. Experiences like those triggered me to further engage in my eating disorder, as clothing often became an extension of something that I could control. Letting go of those clothes meant that I was choosing to move forward for my healthy self and defy my disorder. I learned how to break the patterns and slowly saw glimpses of what a recovered life looked like. One of the most powerful steps that you can take towards body acceptance is to change your perspective with your wardrobe. I found confidence in choosing how to dress and learning how to express myself in a personal way.
A person will go through intense psychological and physical changes when they're in treatment for an eating disorder, which can make it difficult to later return home to an environment that hasn't necessarily changed with them. We want to empower women in recovery from an eating disorder by providing them with new, sizeless clothing for their healthy bodies and lifestyles. And we want to do it for free. So how do we pull something like that off on a large scale? And who are we to even think that we can do that? For about 2 years, Erin and I had a lot of conversations about what the answers to those questions may be. We decided that whether or not we actually know what we're doing, we need to help. So we started by taking donations of new, never-worn clothing from generous retailers like American Eagle, Rue 21, ModCloth, Erin, and because sizes can vary drastically depending on the store or even within a brand, we log accurate measurements of each item that we receive and then we take the sizing tags off of them. We do this to eliminate the tag having any dictation over someone's self-worth or success during these crucial stages in their recovery process. We've developed relationships with treatment centers so that when a woman is at a point in her recovery process where she's ready to give up her eating disorder and listen to her healthy self, her team will help us learn more about who she is and what her needs will be. With that personality, style, and measurement information, we can then create a unique shopping site for each individual. On this site, she'll see clothes from retailers that she's familiar with and items that fit her lifestyle. She can easily scroll through her private page and pick out what she likes. We'll box everything up and ship it right to her door. Anything she doesn't feel great in, or maybe she's changed her mind on, she can put back in the box and send it back to us for free. Now, we thought we were dreaming big when we decided we'll start by serving the female population. We thought it's going to take years to build a reputation and for a new idea like this to gain any traction at all. But since starting this project in February, we've been overwhelmed by support, and it's a priority for us to be serving the male population that's struggling as well.
There is no better alternative. Treatment centers know the importance of clothing in recovery, but don't have the time or resources to implement shopping into therapy sessions. For example, I had come to realize the potential triggers that surrounded buying different clothes, so I decided to pitch the idea of shopping with someone from my treatment team. This wasn't common, but they pulled a lot of strings and were able to find a spare 2 hours in one of the therapist's schedules, as long as I paid for gas. When you're trying not to body check and there are glass doors and mirrors and your reflection is everywhere, it was impossible to even get into a store without nitpicking my body. In H&M, I would point to racks or things that I liked, and she would pull the size that she thought I'd be. I had to change with the door cracked so that she could make sure I wasn't going to start body checking in the mirror. I was a 24-year-old girl changing with the door open, while a therapist calmly tried to stop my tears because the skirt was too small. Everybody was staring. When I attempted to peek at the size that I had on, she immediately grabbed all the clothes back from me and tore the sizes out of each. Having worked retail for 10 years, I imagined the headache that we just created for all of those employees. But my recovery was more important to her than honoring the H&M return policy. Even throughout all of that stress and inconvenience, I was lucky because I had such a supportive treatment team. Most women don't get an opportunity to cause a scene like that in a busy fitting room.
In Erin's case, she had to go across the country to find the kind of care that she needed. And with a lack of local resources, even big cities like this, it's not uncommon for men and women to have to travel to find quality treatment. Typically, patients are out of work the entire time they're in treatment, only magnifying the expense of being there, and treatment is expensive. According to the National Eating Disorder Association, inpatient programs can cost up to $30,000 a month, and outpatient programs don't fall far behind. Insurance companies may cover your program at first, but base your health on the absence of medical complications, a lack of progress, or even where you fall on the BMI chart. Ultimately, this forces many patients to have to leave treatment early or find a way to pay the bill themselves.
In an eating disorder, it's not uncommon to feel as though your identity is defined by a clothing size, and sizes are often used as benchmarks by eating disorder standard. Eating disorders are also frequently accompanied by negative body image, ranging anywhere from general body dissatisfaction to total body image distortions. And this cultural emphasis on clothing sizes and marketing of unrealistic body types can make it even harder. As I spent my years in and out of treatment, I accumulated many, many boxes of clothes that ranged in sizes because my weight would change so often. I had plenty of things to pick from, but the size on the tag would tell me that I wasn't good enough and that I was taking up too much space. As I recovered, I began to have a greater appreciation for my body and learned to accept the size I'm in now without letting that dictate my self-worth.
And even if the size on the tag on your clothes doesn't cause you experiences of anxiety, everybody can certainly relate to the positives of having access to clothing that makes you feel great. This isn't just about eating disorders. This is bigger than that. This is about making people feel empowered and prepared and confident.
I want to use fashion to help others because fashion is where I found my confidence. It does not matter what size my skirt is. It only matters that I feel as capable and worthy and as amazing as I am in it.
Thank you.